I forgot to turn the recording on, my goodness.
Oh, you missed my joke. That's a shame. So some of the alternate uses that we were considering after looking at the market and really kind of digging into what we've seen work at other properties where malls have been, redeveloped. We'd clearly like to keep a retail component. Macy's is doing well, and there are several retailers that are still strong. Apple obviously, and others that are still bringing in traffic and performing well. But clearly the Sears end of the mall, we have higher vacancy and an opportunity there to maybe take down part or, maybe redevelop a part of it or even take it down for other uses. But we've been looking at everything from residential to entertainment, potential educational training facilities to kind of have a synergistic use with the hockey rink next door. And then possibly even lifestyle medical. I think that's something that we've talked, maybe even on this call, one of these meetings before, not necessarily a hospital, but maybe what I call like lifestyle medical, physical therapy, fitness, kind of, life improving, if not, traditional medicine. So those are some of the ideas that we've talked around. But looking, at the zoning, both Marlboro and Berlin are very retail focused and limited in the scope of the zoning by right. So, it's something that we would want to go back to both towns with and see if there's an opportunity to amend the zoning so that we can, better utilize the property and put in, some uses that I think will strengthen the retail and will also be beneficial for both of the towns and the region, really, if we do it right. So that's a kind of a brief synopsis. One of the other things we talked about on the planning call is that Marlboro has already started this process. They have a vision plan for the Donald Lynch Boulevard corridor. And one of the things that they are talking about a lot in that vision plan is rezoning this area to allow some other more strategic uses. So we would love to dovetail what they're doing on Donald Lynch Boulevard with the Berlin side and give us an opportunity to revitalize the area and revitalize the center going, forward.
So I've got a couple of questions.
Sure.
Do you now have a relationship with Sears? I remember you were having a hard time getting in touch with them.
We have contact information. I wouldn't say it's a relationship, but when there's a problem, we know who to call now, and they call us, periodically when there's an alarm going off or there's something else that they need information on. So we're sharing information, but it's not like a regular, contact with them.
So
And
since
that's on the local level, Peter, we do have a relationship with them on the corporate side.
So if you have a tacit partnership, given your development thoughts.
Yeah, I would say partnership would be overstepping the relationship at this point. We have had transactions with them in the past at other properties, whether we're buying them out of a lease or purchasing property that they would have, at one of our sites. So we do have a history with them.
So if Pacific carves out a solution, comes up with a solution with the the town, the city, and the communities, do you have the ability to develop it into what you have in mind, given Sears is a different entity?
Well, I think one of the first steps would be the feasibility of that transaction. We'd have to make sure that was possible and it worked into the economics of the situation. But yeah, that picking up that parcel of land would be key to the redevelopment.
Got it. And Macy's is doing well. I'm pleasantly surprised to hear that. Did I get that right?
Yeah, I mean, they're you know, the store manager keeps telling me their numbers keep going up from pre-COVID. Well, no, I don't think she's quite at pre-COVID levels, but she's pretty close. And she's definitely improving every month over last year. So it's good to hear.
Anyone else? So how was it left in the planning board? I'm not sure I heard that. How was it left?
So I think the last tail end of that conversation was that we were working on recommendations for the Donald Lynch Boulevard Marlboro side, and that we were going to share them with Berlin so that they could see what, you know, what else, if other than what they're proposing to change, we might be looking for. And we have, I think, until the end of November to do that. So we would share that with the planning board. And then I think there's another planning board meeting in January. I think we'll probably be invited to that and hopefully have an update for everybody on the board by then, after we talk to Marlboro and kind of outlines sort of where, you know, where probably a more cohesive plan and maybe some concrete suggestions on zoning changes that we would be looking for.
So has Pacific, you and Pacific, you or Pacific, come up with a direction that you're leaning towards? Sounded like residential.
Yeah, I think residential will definitely be a component of it. I think there's a need. We've, you know, identified that there is a need. What exactly that residential looks like, we're not sure. There's also an opportunity for mixed use where you have some retail on the bottom, residential on the top. You know, and then we would have to reconfigure that whole big parking area into something a little more aesthetically pleasing for folks that want to live there. You know, back it up to the green space, add some green space in front. And, you know, there's other components that we could bring in, entertainment, you know, additional kind of uses like I talked about, lifestyle, medical, those kinds of thing, educational potentially, just to kind of give it more of a, you know, live, stay, play kind of feel to the whole development.
Paul, Jeff, Jason, Scott, Marjorie, anyone?
So I'll just put my 2 cents in, since, you know, we are, you know, also retailers, and I've worked in retail for 25 years. I actually managed a couple of retailers in the Solomon Fund Mall. So, I mean, it's really exciting to hear all the things that you are, you know, have in mind to redevelop that space. I, previous to being at LOB, came from Ballot Designs in Natick, the Natick Mall. And what they've been able to do with that property, with that multi-use function, really truly has, you know, done amazing things for them, including Wegmans being there. So I think the more creative we are with our mall spaces these days, you know, the more we'll get the benefit from that real estate in our market. So that's great to hear.
Thank you.
What structures are you thinking of redeveloping besides the Sears box?
So there's the Sears box, and there's a section of the mall that's up against the Sears box, sort of from Penny's to Sears. That's kind of, you know, in play, if you will. I don't know that we've defined it, you know, exactly, but anything from Penny's towards Sears, I would say, would be in the mix at this point. And, you know, depending on the long-term longevity of JCPenney, that may be another, you know, property that may come into the mix at some point. But right now they're open and operating, so we're going to have to design around them, I think, for the short term anyway, until we, you know, come up with a fully cohesive plan that maybe includes at some point absorbing that space as well.
Yeah,
How are they doing? Do you know?
I don't think, I agree with Liz. I don't think that they're a long-term player for any market. But I think that making our design flexible enough so that we can add that into like a phase 2, depending on how long they existed or how fast we could get control of that box. The you know, it gets expensive and pretty quick when they see that you've got designs on their property. So, you know, we would have to play that pretty clever in order to get control of it at a decent price. But I think that you know, that's kind of the front door. The big play is on the Sears side, but I think that, you know, the grand entry, the sense of arrival is really going to be at the J.C. Penney box. So and really, when you look at downsizing the amount of square footage that we have in retail on the Macy's side and what we've got there, including the food court, would probably be enough, you know, to re-merchandise and to really make a statement with. So I doubt that any of us would miss J.C. Penney very, very badly.
Right. How are they doing? Do you know?
I mean, their sales aren't, you know, stellar by any stretch of the imagination, but compared to the other pennies in the market, they tend to be towards the middle of the pack. I mean, I know, you know, I touch base with Tanya, who manages the store, you know, on a pretty regular basis. She was consistently at the top of the, you know, pile for a while there. And now she's kind of in the middle most of the time as compared to her other stores, as far as comparative to LY and her plan every month. So they are doing some, you know, investing some money in that store after the first of the year. They've got their own, you know, beauty line coming in and a few other things that they're planning on doing. So there'll be some minor construction and some new, you know, pop-up shop kind of operations going on in there. So they haven't, you know, they're still investing in the store, which is good.
How many square feet is the Sears box, the 2 floors?
163,500.
Got it. Let's see, quite a number. Well, is there anything else we can answer for you, or do you think we can do for you?
I'd like to ask Marjorie how the grand opening was.
Please.
It was a blast, other than it being 75 degrees out while we were roasting s'mores outside on our
Beautiful.
campfire stoves. It was fabulous.
Okay.
Usually when we do grand openings in the fall, it's a little bit crisper, a little more fall feel in the air. But it was really wonderful. We're so happy to be in Hudson, Berlin, and it seems like being over at Highland Commons, that is the talk of the town. Are we in Berlin? Are we in Hudson? The town line is literally behind our door. So we've confirmed we're in Berlin, but the mailing address is Hudson. So super excited to be here. Benderson Properties has been wonderful to work with throughout this whole process. We really, really are so grateful to be in this community. And like, we did the soft opening the week of the, gosh, it's just been a constant blur. What do we hear? The 15th, 2 weeks ago, November 4th. And it's been nonstop. It's been nonstop, people stopping in. This is our 9th store in Massachusetts. So we thought the excitement would kind of be a little bit more tepid, but Massachusetts folks love LL Bean, and we've had consistent traffic every day since we opened. So we're super excited. We hired 70 people into the store. I am new to LL Bean. Like I said, I come from Ballard Designs. And when they said to me, okay, we're going to hire 70 people, I said, really? We hired 70 people, no problem. You know, really, really excited. We actually relocated 2 individuals from other stores in New York to come work permanently in the store. So really, you know, excited about the response. People are getting back to work. They want to work. You know, it's a part-time seasonal position at $16 an hour with a good LL Bean discount. And people came, you know, we offer flexibility, and people were excited to be part of, you know, the excitement and being part of the brand. So we were really excited about that. You know, we've had nothing but, you know, open arms and warm welcomes, being here in the community. And we had the Berlin Police come to our media night, and, you know, that was wonderful. So we're really excited to be here.
Great. Well, thank you for the update. I appreciate it. Congratulations on your successful grand opening. That's great.
Yeah,
So
I mean, I
hopefully-
think a success in retail anywhere is a success for retail everywhere,
Everywhere. Yep.
especially brick and
That's
mortar.
great, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's really, really nice to see, you know, brick and mortar retailers bouncing back after COVID, being flexible, being creative, because you have to these days. And it's great to see the shoppers back in the stores.
Good.
for-
Well, thank
If there's some synergy between the two of you, Liz and Marjorie, I'll be happy to introduce you by email.
Yeah, that would be
Absolutely.
great.
I can say from a select board perspective, for Elizabeth and Marjorie, I'm one of the select board members here in town. What town the building, the business in is one of those things that we actually discussed at our last couple of meetings, because whether or not they're in Marlboro or Berlin, at Solomon Pond or Hudson or Berlin in Highland Commons, it is sort of one of those things that it irks me every now and then, because we have some great, as we try to attract nice families, other stuff to town, that, you know, we have the Emerson Urgent Care of Hudson that is very much in Berlin. And you know, LL Bean that I'm very happy. The number of times as a kid that I have done driving trips to Freeport, I will tell stories later on, but you know, that the donation went to Boys and Girls Clubs of Metro West, which Berlin kids can't go to because we're outside of their catchment area. You know, trying to find a way that Berlin gets highlighted as we try to help in the businesses, because, you know, Marlboro is a bigger city up at Solomon Pond Mall, and I think they almost all have Marlboro mailing addresses, and Solomon and at Highland Commons all have Hudson mailing addresses. Trying not to make sure we get lost as a town.
When I called into the store, I had to find out if it was Berlin or Hudson before I even started. But luckily, they answered the question.
Well, I have to say, I mean, it's very complex and confusing, I have to say. And, you know, it was great that the Berlin Police did come to media night and had a great conversation with the chief, because, you know, he really explained how important it is for us to really, you know, align with the Berlin Police, because, I mean, goodness, you know, it's a completely different county, whether you're in Hudson or you're in Berlin. So, I mean, we have some wonderful programs, and LL Bean is really interested in the springtime, you know, to definitely collaborate with the town of Berlin, collaborate with your schools, and bring some, you know, outdoor experience programs to the schools. So, you know, we definitely are interested in making sure that we align with Berlin and are, you know, an active, involved member of your community.
Let me ask Marjorie this question. How do you integrate or compete with Cabela's?
That's a great question. We're excited that we're in the same plaza as Cabela's, because they are essentially similar customers. So if people are coming into the plaza to shop at Cabela's, we're hoping that they'll pop over to us also. You know, Cabela's is a very large hunting focus, where, you know, we're much more apparel and equipment branded. Truly, like, you know, you were saying, if you want to go to Freeport, you get the full experience, hunting, fishing. But in Berlin, we are apparel and equipment. So we sell camping equipment. We have kayaks, paddle boards. So, you know, really kind of bringing that outside into families. So, you know, I think it's a little different approach. We're more family centric. You know, for example, we have pet supplies and dog supplies, and you probably hear my rambunctious puppy in the background. And it's very family oriented. We have glow in the dark, you know, dog collars, whereas Cabela's is much more hunting dog oriented. A lot of the pet supplies you see there aligned with hunting dogs. So I think, you know, we complement each other nicely, and, you know, I think that it's just gonna be a win-win for the two stores.
So with any luck, the store manager from Cabela's will sign in and we can introduce you to each other.
That would be wonderful.
Yeah, she had a loss prevention phone call at 6. Oh,
Yeah.
So yeah, you have a lot less camo clothes than Cabela's does.
Absolutely, we do.
Yeah.
We have a lot more flannel.
Yes, you do a
Um,
lot. You have a lot of flannel. Yeah, we've already been in your store about 5 times in the last 7 days, so.
Great, great to hear.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I think it just is a broader range of products with the 2 stores being in the same plaza.
Yep.
For that outdoorsy, individual and family. So it's a
Yeah.
win-win.
so I have a question, personal question. When are you going to have Virginia salted peanuts again and not just the hot and spicy ones?
Oh, goodness. You know what? I can check our inventory supply chain and see when those are going to come in, and I'll save you some.
Those are great. I was
They are.
disappointed they weren't there.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's not your fault. I don't think any of the other stores had seen them either. You had folks on Friday and Thursday up from other stores. I don't think they had them either.
Yeah,
Maybe a
no, we
supply
had
chain issue.
a huge crew of people from all over the place. So
Yeah.
I feel like I saw them in Millbury in August, but they had just ran out of them. So
Yep.
I'll keep my eye out for you.
Yep.
That's funny. How many square feet is your store?
So it's about 16,000 square feet. Most of our stores are either 15,000 square footers or 30,000. So like Wayside in Denham, the larger stores, Mansfield Crossing, those are larger stores. So we're, really happy with the alignment of this store specifically for a smaller store because it's very square. We did get a little bit of additional extra footage. Just the layout is just really, really nice, very cohesive.
Good. Well, magic has happened. Thank you. Lynn
Yeah.
is here. Hi, Lynn. Lynn, your camera's off and you're muted. Lynn is from Cabela's.
I can say my stepfather, who is an avid hunter, is already planning a trip to visit me, who I don't get to see all that often because he wants to stop by both LL Bean and Cabela's in one stop. So it will have that sort of piece.
Yeah.
And really the mall is not, Sullivan Pond's not that far away. I'm sure there's people who go up there and then also swing by JCPenney's or Macy's on their way out too.
So that I have to say, having plugged LL Bean on Liz's behalf, the local Mexican owned restaurant in the food court is great.
It's very good.
It's really good. We've now decided pretty much every Sunday afternoon. That's how we get our dinner.
No, that's great. Yeah, they're very good and they started doing catering too. So
Wow.
they're very aggressive about marketing their business and their food is excellent. It's authentic and good.
It is, and their family's great.
Yeah, super nice. Great.
Yeah.
Great people.
Yeah.
I have to say I live right in the middle of Millbury and Solomon Pond, and Millbury does not have a Bath and Body Works. So I'll go to Solomon for Bath and Body Works and then get my Old Navy fix on. So I think it's all in the mix.
I'm not sure why Lynn, can you hear us? If you can hear us, send a smoke signal. Well, while we're at it, what's going on, Scott, in the selectmen's world? Anything interesting?
I'm sure there's interesting things going on because I get hundreds of emails a day, but I mean, from my standpoint, it's trying to make sure we get, the reason I come here is that business and economic development is one of those things that I do have some interest in. And even, I don't know if you know, even Peter, when I did inner city economic development in Minneapolis for a while in my earlier careers. And had fun dealing with Sears at Lake in Chicago in Minneapolis. And redeveloping that tower actually into residential.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
It looks like we've got a space age Lynn. Lynn, we
An
can
outdoor tent.
see you floating. Looks like you're in space. We can't hear you though. While we're waiting for Lynn, let me fill everyone, or at least the members, in about Benderson, Highland Commons. So the members know, and I think Scott knows, Jed Hayes was the principal developer, and I spoke with him this afternoon. He tried very hard to dig up a representative from Benderson to speak to us. Given that they're privately held and close to the vest, they don't want to speak to us. The short of it. Jed can't speak to us because he's no longer a member of the partnership. He will introduce me to the property manager if we've got specific questions about, in my case, why the stop signs were put on the BJ side. But that's pretty much it. There's nobody that's going to be willing to publicly speak with us. So that pursuit is over. He was very apologetic and very generous with his time. So that's Benderson. Carol from Stevens Family Foundation, I never heard.
Peter?
Yeah.
There are a couple other things that are going on there, obviously. I think probably Marjorie knows this. There's a Starbucks drive-through is going to be going in very short order. I mean, they're in the business of constructing it right now next to around the back of the Verizon store.
Mhm.
So that's happening. And I understand from one of our police officers that there's a Chick-fil-A going in across next to where the karate place is. That'll be getting built, that other additional space on the backside of the Lowe's parking lot. They have footage. Jed told us that they have the ability, they have some site there that they can expand and build out on. They're going to be apparently building a new building and having a Chick-fil-A going over there.
I mean, it's just no one we can pick the brains of. Jed was willing to, because that's his personality,
Right.
to be their representative and chat with us, but they're very close to the vest. He spoke to an individual whose name he gave me, but I don't want to repeat it since it's public. And they just don't want to publicly chat about this sort of stuff. So we don't have any intel into their operations. Property manager can answer specifics that are non-leasing type things. But that's unfortunately it. But that's good to know. They're still continuing to grow. Keith Leonard, Highland Liquors, he's got a conflict, wanted to join us, but couldn't. Carol from Stevens Family Foundation didn't respond. Benderson I spoke about, and the rest of us are here. So Lynn, have you resolved your IT issues? You see a good looking picture of the Cabela's outside. Do you want to call in? Now we've lost her altogether. Let's move on to Marjorie and Liz and Tom. Do you mind hanging on? Thank you. So let's talk about the minutes. Anybody look at the minutes besides Paul and I?
Yeah, I read through them. They looked good as far as I could see.
Jason? Well, Jason? Oh, we have a black dog like you. Black lab.
He's
Sure.
6 months old and he's a little crazy. He misses me. I'm at
I
the store
love
all day.
dogs.
Baker.
Jason, did you have a look at those minutes by chance?
I did, Peter. Everything seemed to look fine to me.
All right, I'm making a motion to adopt the minutes of April 14th and April 25th as last shared.
Seconded.
Second by Jeff. Any further discussion? I doubt it. Given there's no more discussion, we'll take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? None. That takes care of that. I guess Lynn is still trying to get in. The sign project update. So It's unfortunate that Lynn's not on. So just to give Liz, who I think knows what I'm talking about, Tom and Marjorie, a little background. The EDC proposed to welcome signs sponsored by retailers. Cabela's has stepped up to sponsor that's welcome sign, which would be on River Road West. The connector between 290 to 495 and Shell Station. I've shaken hands with Cabela's, with the town, but the agreement, are you aware of this, Scott?
I know you have a sign going in and I know there's some, I thought the select board had to like vote on something at one point that we gave support.
No, the agreement that was drafted by Margaret and then blessed and massaged by town council, it will never be signed off on by Cabela's. Now it's transitioned to Kristen. Kristen gave it to Mary to see what she can do to massage it. And I'm waiting to get it back. I don't want to present an agreement that's on its face won't be acceptable to Cabela's. And that's where this stands. Waiting for Kristen and Mary to do their magic. If you, Scott, could nudge Kristen, that'd be great.
Yep, I meet with her weekly as chair, and so I've just typed it to my like things to talk to her about.
Yeah, and the two issues are the town wants Cabela's to indemnify the town. I can't imagine that that'll be acceptable. And then the agreement's 5 years, and unless voted otherwise by town meeting, it has to be 3 years or less. It turns out Kristen found in some minutes or some hearsay or some knowledge base that we did vote a 5-year agreement to be acceptable. So that issue is resolved, but there's some others as well. And the agreement length was supposed to be 5 years. Oh, look at that.
Yep. Okay, I've added to my notes.
That'd be great. Thanks, Scott.
So Peter, I think the last time I was on one of these calls, you had forwarded me some information on that. If you could send it again.
That'll cost you.
It fell off my radar and I'd like to see it again.
Okay. Well, Lynn, if you can hear us, we cannot hear you.
I think I can hear me now.
We can hear you.
Yeah, I can
miracle.
talk, but no face,
No video?
no video. I can't get them to both work at the same time.
Gotcha. Well, welcome.
Thank
Can you see us at least?
I can.
Excellent. So Jeff, Paul, and Jason, whose camera's off, are the members. Marjorie is the store manager for the newly opened Ella Beans. Ella
Right,
Bean.
sure.
And Liz is the mall manager at Salmon Pond. And Tom is a VP of something very important at Pacific, who is a colleague of Liz.
Gotcha.
Scott is the chairman of the select board in our town. So you've got a variety pack of folks here.
Hello.
So tell us a little about how the store's doing. You're the new manager as of this last several months.
Yep.
How the store's doing.
So, yeah, so I started September 1, came up from the Foxborough store. I was at that location since 08. So I was at the Foxborough Bass Pro, and then got promoted up to the Cabela's up there. So I've been there a couple months. We just launched Santa's Wonderland last week. So you might have seen we had a Santa's parade go through the development last Saturday night. We probably had about, I don't know, roughly 100, 120 people outside our store waiting for Santa's arrival. So that was huge. And that kicked off our really our fourth quarter going into the holiday season.
Great. Did you feed
Yeah. What was that?
did you feed the reindeer?
Yeah, absolutely.
So how's the store doing? I know you had struggled through COVID.
Yeah. So it's been a it's been a challenge, but I think we're gonna have a strong fourth quarter. So if this weekend's any indicator of what's coming ahead, then we should have a strong fourth quarter. And we had a phenomenal weekend, so hopefully this little bite of cold weather and has we'll start the fourth quarter strong.
Is leadership pleased with how the store is doing?
Yeah, absolutely. I got a pretty much all new staff in there, so it's good. So I have a bunch of newly promoted managers who are really eager to make the store work, and we have lots of events going on, so it'll be great. Black Friday is just around the corner, so I'm sure they're going to be lined up outside the door.
Excellent. So as I mentioned, Marjorie is the store manager of L.L. Bean. I'm hoping that there's some synergy between Cabela's and L.L. Bean. Maybe
Yeah,
you
she
wanna-
had the line last week around the building.
We did. That was crazy. That
Yeah.
they do that on all the grand openings, have the gift card line. And I was in the building probably at like 6 a.m. and there's probably like 20 people there, people who slept overnight. But
Yeah,
by opening at 9 a.m., it was around the building. Wild.
it was. When I came to work, I had drove by to see where the line was, and yeah, it was around the building.
Yeah. It's a fun event. They do a great job, the special events team up in Freeport, and they come down, and like I was laughing, I said, oh, we had s'mores and campfires, and it was like 75 degrees out.
Yeah, we had Santa and a couple people dressed up as Rudolph and those poor people, they were sweating because it was 77 degrees.
Yeah, I really hope it snows tomorrow so we can get a little nip in the air and get people
Yeah.
excited about Christmas shopping.
Absolutely.
Did you have a good Veterans Day weekend?
We had a phenomenal Veterans Day weekend, so
Us too.
we were really happy with what the business came to the plaza and what came in the store. We had a really good Veterans Day deal going on, so that helped.
Yeah, us too. We're not very promotional, LL Bean, and we did 10% off most products. So, that really drove our business. But, we're still riding high off of the grand opening. Having a lot of people stop by.
Yeah. I poked in on Friday. I think Friday of grand opening, I came in and kind of perused. So.
Well, you were brave. It was nutty on Friday. So,
yeah.
But I think it's great that we're in the plaza with your company. I think it's, a very, very similar customer, and us together, we're different, but we're similar. I just think it'll drive traffic as a destination for that, that certain individual who's looking for that lifestyle brand.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
all-
Yeah, sorry, Lynn, this is Paul. My wife and I joke that it's actually a great compliment because, the husband heads off to Cabela's to shop for guns and fishing stuff, and the wife goes off to Beans to shop for clothes. And it's perfect because they're probably both outdoor people. So the whole family's outdoor. So it really is a pretty neat combination.
Now, see, we have stuff for women too. So,
Yeah, I know you are. I go to Cabela's enough too.
Well, my My husband is a proud Cabela credit card holder and he
Awesome.
loves your store.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good store. You know, I came from, obviously I came from Best Pro and same umbrella, just two totally different customer bases between the two stores. And, of course I was in Foxborough, so that place was ginormous and we had a lot of runoff of the craft group and stuff with Patriots. And so going from there, from that building to, Cabela's up in Hudson is a total change, but it's good. Change for the good.
So would you two like to be introduced to each other by email or
Sure.
some synergy? Okay,
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be great.
all right. I will do that. Is there anything specifically for Lynn? Actually, let me stop my ADD. Lynn, is there anything that we can do for you as a town?
No, not right. I'm still kind of just getting my kind of muttering through. I had my first kind of thing with the town with my parade, and I apparently didn't contact both towns that the plaza's in. So that was, my first kind of big thing. But yeah, as we go forward, I always have.
I'm sure our police treated you kindly, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nobody arrested Santa Claus.
Right.
No, but I wanted the parade to go all the way down to Lowe's, which we did, but it's Hudson, not Berlin, so we had to get the sign off from the Hudson Police Department, which I failed to do. So we had to wait to hold up Santa. It was only it only built the anticipation, and the marching band was just doing extra laps around the building.
So Lynn, let me explain what I explained before you came on regarding this sign proposal.
Mhm.
The proposed agreement between the town of Berlin and Cabela's is unacceptable to me. And therefore, I don't want to present it to you.
Okay.
I just don't think your corporate folks are going to agree to it. So I've been negotiating or attempting to negotiate with the town to get some terms changed. Scott, who's right here, will take it up with the town administrator and see if we can get this moved along, because I know you signed off on it, your predecessor signed off on it, it's embarrassing.
Yeah, and marketing is going to pay for it, and not that comes out of the Missouri budget and not my budget, which is even better.
Oh, good. So, we're trying hard not to embarrass ourselves as well as get this done. So please bear with us and thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no problem.
That said, I think we've networked best I know. Liz and Tom, you've been quiet. Anything further that you'd like to ask or say?
I don't think
I'm good.
so. I said my piece.
Yeah. Happy to meet you guys.
You're welcome.
It's good, good to
Paul?
hear that
Sorry.
it's good to hear that brick and mortar retail is gearing up for a fantastic fourth quarter.
Right. All right, Paul, Jeff, Jason, I'm guessing if you had something to say, you would say it.
That's correct.
So, ladies, thank you very much and Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I hope your loss prevention meeting went well.
Oh, thanks.
And on that note, I'm going to make a motion to adjourn. Anybody want a second, or you want us to continue?
Second.
Jeff seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Aye.
I